In a world overrun with the fake, delusional, and disingenuous, he stands as a beacon of truth. He is Abuki Cabal. You are listening to Abuki Cabal.
Welcome to the Abuki Cabal Show.
What's going on, everybody? Wow. Just when we think that we're turning the corner, they just show us who they are yet again. You have our latest situation here. But first, let me thank everybody for coming out and listening to the show, and appreciate everything you guys do for me. The comments, appreciate those. Even people who, don't necessarily agree with where I'm coming from on some of these things. Hey, I appreciate you guys too. Any questions or anything that you guys would like for me to cover, I'd be glad to. Just hit me in the comments. Also, in the profile spot there, you've got my email. You guys want to send me something, please like, share, and subscribe. I appreciate you guys' support with the channel. Let's get on with the topic. So Tina Knowles has put together a series that's going to tackle some of the misconceptions and myths about Black men. And it has a lot of Black women in an uproar. And I'm gonna cover a little bit of that and let you guys see what they're saying and see what you think about that. So they have started a petition, and it's cancel. They want to cancel the program. It's cancel the problematic Discovery series that ignores the victimization of Black women. And it almost has 5,000 signatures. It's 4,509 as of this. As you can see, it says down there at 5,000 signatures, you're you're likely to get picked up by local news agencies. And nobody's really, there are a few people talking about this. I'm sure a lot of the guys in the manosphere will pick up on it soon enough. I saw Dr. Tiasan Johnson did one. I'm going to check that out after I do mine. But I find it interesting that when there's anti-Black male rhetoric being levied by almost 5,000 women, and that's not even counting the other websites that have been inundated with comments negative to Black men, and leading people to believe that, okay, you can't cover one problem and the other side of the problem as well. It's like saying we're only going to talk about one side of the coin. When there are two sides of a coin, those two sides bring about balance, but they don't want that. They want the spotlight to only be on Black women and the suffering, perceived or real, that they feel needs to have the spotlight at all times. I'm going to look at a little bit of this. And it's really, it's kind of sad, really, if you listen to this. And then if you look at, always look at the people who are levying these, these accusations and these comments. And, you have to size those people up. First, look at the message. I believe the message is important. Like I tell people, with Kevin Samuels, if you listen to the message is undefeated. You take Kevin's face off of it and you just listen to the message is undefeated. It's been undefeated with everybody else that's given it also. Women and men who've been saying this for over the last 30 years, 40 years. So, let's see here. All right, there we have it. And this is the article that Ebony did covering the docu-series, and I'll go over that with you guys, and we'll see what she's trying to do here. Okay, according to Ebony, Tina Knowles-Lawson docu-series profiled the black man debunks the societal stereotypes of our men. And kudos for her for doing this, because I don't know if you guys have seen the spot where she was being interviewed and her husband was there, and she basically just disrespected her husband like you would not believe. So hopefully she's learned from that interview and what everybody had to say about how she treated her husband. Well, let's move on here. Tina Knowles-Lawson has definitely been on her A game. She's been dedicated. She's been dedicated to holding space for empowering conversations with notable figures in entertainment. First, with her recently launched Facebook Watch series, Talks with Mama Tina, and now with Profiled the Black Man, a new limited docu-series in conjunction with the Discovery Plus and OWN networks. Through a dynamic mixture of historical footage, real-life testimony, and commentary from an array of renowned thought leaders, the four-part documentary examines the origins of the widespread stereotypes that have impacted the lives of black men in America for centuries. In addition to Knowles-Lawson's work as an executive producer of the series, she will also offer her own reflections alongside featured commentary from notable community leaders such as civil rights activist DeRay Mackison, activist Tamika Mallory, hip-hop culture icon Sway Calloway, and award-winning performer Billy Porter. Sorry. Okay, Billy Porter. I'm kind of, well, we'll see. The depictions we constantly see of black men frequently minimizes the depth of who we are. Society has characterized black men by stories told through biased and racially tinted lenses, says Knowles-Lawson. Profile the Black Men is a love letter to black men telling them we see them and that they deserve to exist in this world in their fullness. I am excited to lend my voice to reshaping the way our men are perceived and shining a light on the true essence of the black men that I encounter every day. Maybe she did learn something from that interview, guys. Okay, actor Tristan Mack Wiles will host the limited series while guiding the audience through each episode to aid in dismantling long-standing stereotypes about black men. The docuseries will be produced by A. Smith & Co. Productions with P. Frank Williams as showrunner. Tina Knowles-Lawson and Terrell Thomas serve as executive producers, and Kristen V. Carter as co-executive producer. For most of my life, I've always had to wonder how people saw me and constantly have felt like I was fighting an uphill battle based on many of the negative stereotypes that surround me and the people that look like me, said Thomas. I want to create this series in order to give black men a voice and the power to write our own narrative and tell our own stories. The series will premiere on Saturday, February the 12th, exclusively on Discovery Plus. The new one, 1-hour episodes available on Discovery Plus subscribers every Saturday through March 5th. Okay. I won't play the trailer, but you guys can check that out. So let's move on to one of the dissenting articles here. All right, and this is on Swisher Post. I don't know how, I kind of ran up on this on my search, but talks a little bit about the women who boycott Tina-Lawson Knowles' new docuseries about black men. Tina-Lawson Knowles left women outraged over her participation in the docuseries that champions black men. Okay. I'm going to murder this guy's name, but it looks like it's a black guy that did it. And Dio Sicista. Yeah. You guys can figure that one out. Anyway, here we have Tina here. And here's a little bit about the petition. Okay, Tina-Lawson Knowles, the mother of the global megastar Beyonce Knowles Carter, is on the receiving end of the backlash over her participation in a 4-part docu-series about black men. Petition launched to cancel Tina Knowles' docu-series Profile the Black Man is a docu-series that premiered on Discovery Plus on Saturday, the 12th of February, 2022. The Oprah Winfrey Network produced series highlights the adversities faced by black men in the United States and shines the spotlight on black-owned businesses. The first episode explores the misconception about black men being dangerous and ties this in with the story of Leon Ford, a man who in November 2012 was shot by Pittsburgh police during a traffic stop. The episode also highlights the Black Bread Co., a sliced bread business founded by Charles Alexander, Mark Edmond, and Jamel Lewis at the height of unrest following the unjust death of George Floyd. Okay. While the aim of the docuseries, executive produced by Tina-Lawson Knowles, seeks to disarm racial stereotypes placed against black men, a feminist only known by her username on change.org, Lexus Exodus, has launched a petition calling for Discovery to remove the title from its catalog. As a black woman who is also a classically trained journalist who understands minority media depictions very well, this is extremely problematic as the actual research, statistics, and data painted a drastically different picture. According to the FBI, at least 4 black women and girls were murdered per day in the United States in 2020 alone. We've seen a stark increase in these numbers recently, and according to black women advocacy organizations Black Femicide America, a black woman is killed in the U.S. once every 6 hours, according to the U.S. Department of Justice. Black women are much more likely to be sexually assaulted and 4 times more likely than white women to be murdered by a significant other. More disturbingly, 92% of these killings were intraracial, which means that the overwhelming majority of these murders were committed by a black man against a black woman, the user wrote. Now, we've all heard these statistics on the Green Gorilla channel and on Dr. Tiasan Johnson's channel. If you haven't, please go to their channels and look into their catalogs in order for you to see the data about this. Black men are killed by black women as well. The data shows that black women initiate violence against their significant others at a higher rate than men do. We'll try to do something on that. I'll see if I can get something that's a little bit more, that's condensed so that we can kind of cover with these, because I hate not having those available, but I will have those available next time. Hopefully I can have something to kind of tag along with this, but still, there's no justification to try to characterize black men in this way. Now, when black men come out and we say that we have problems about certain things that black women are doing in our community, then we're shouted down. We are silenced. We're shamed, muted in every possible way that you can think of. But here we have women trying to stop this from happening. You know, they didn't have any problems with docu-series on R. Kelly or Bill Cosby or any of those. Those are just fine. Okay, let's go on. The petition has since garnered close to 4,000 signatures out of its goal of 5,000. Lawson, Knowles, and Discovery have not issued a response to the backlash. I wouldn't do a response, but hopefully this will get covered in bigger formats in order to ask the question, why are black women so angry with black men who haven't done anything to them? Why is it that you don't want black men to be characterized in a positive way? Why can't both sides of our community be told? Because there's more than just that. I mean, there's more than just black men, black women. There's also black children, black elderly, black patients, in a healthcare system that doesn't see them as fully human and hasn't dealt with them in an equitable fashion, and still has problems with that even to this day. There are a number of issues that surround our community that are larger than just the black woman and the black man. But I don't think we scream as hard as these individuals right here. So let's look at this a little bit more here. A platform to divest. Okay. Is this the divestment community? If you don't know what that is, that's black women that are divesting from black men and wanting to date out in other cultures and whatnot because black men are characterized as being no good and poisonous and whatnot. We have done our best to show that it's not us. There are some Pookie and Ray Rays out here, but we don't frequent them. We tell these women what they need to know so that they don't frequent, Pookie and Ray Rays, but they continuously go to Pookie and Ray Rays. You have female platform owners who have the same issues with some of these black women. Why are you with this man? You don't know anything about the man, but his sex is good. And that's pretty much what it boils down to. Well, let's move on. Okay, so this platform for divestment, #BlackWoman, BW, Tina Knowles does not speak for black women. And this is supposed to be I guess a knacker, fill in the blank there, N-word documentary won't change anything, just like their constant begging. WM for centuries, begging white men for centuries, has changed nothing for their precious Kangs, and it's Kangs. Okay. All right. Tina Knowles should be ashamed of herself, says Sheer529. She'd be ashamed of herself. Black women are not safe from black men. They are dying every 5.5 hours, and sometimes the kids die. This really infuriates me. Okay. It's on Twitter. Here's another one. Bougie Black Cousin. Tina Knowles won't convince me to care about how black men are treated in America. They're some of the biggest white supremacists of all time. They trash their women, their community, and create a dangerous environment for black people to live in. Wow. Should I go over some more of these? Nah. I'll leave the link down here for you guys to, go through there, and it probably has a few more itemized, selections for you to choose from about how angry the black women are that black men are going to be shown in a positive light. Black men who haven't done anything to them. She's not showing black men who are abusers or anything like that in a positive light. She's showing black men and black men who have been victimized because of a perception that people had of them. They didn't do anything wrong, And if you want to talk about stats, go look at the numbers of black men who are killed every year. It's a lot higher than black women, I can assure you. Look at how many of us are murdered and how many of us are killed in domestic violence situations, and how many of us are dying of suicides and, dying on jobs and all of that. And I guarantee it's a lot higher than the number that they're out here casting out. And if you look at those FBI statistics in a little bit greater detail, you'll see the reason behind those deaths and how that came about. I mean, we just watched, a man call the police on his wife who was stabbing him, and the police came in and shot him dead. But they don't talk about that. I wonder what that man did to these women who are so appalled at Tina Knowles documentaries. Okay, so here's another one by Khadijah, and this is on themedium.com. Okay, black women, we need to stop coddling black men. Our safety is at risk. Get a chance to take a look at this mugshot, and I don't know why she's feeling unsafe. I don't see. I just don't see it. But you guys check it out. Tell me what you think. She looks like Popeye with glasses on. But okay, Tina Knowles, Beyonce's mother, produced a documentary called Profile the Black Man, which is supposed to center around the struggles of black men have faced throughout history and debunk the stereotypes they have faced. Okay. Most black women have huge problems with this. And so do I, says Khadijah. Here's what almost everyone said in the comments section for the trailer. Oh gosh, I might need to pull that up. Black women are dying at the highest rates because of black on black violence from black men. Amen. I almost did a praise dance for that. Why would a black woman do a praise dance over bad news? Sociopathic, don't you think? Almost everyone is ripping that trailer apart, particularly black women, and I couldn't be more proud. But of course, there were some outliers. Some black people said that we should use white supremacist rhetoric to teach black men a lesson. We shouldn't say that they are fulfilling their own stereotypes. I'm going to stop right there. All I can say is, how dare she say that, we're being accused of being white, doing white supremacist bidding. But if anybody has been the biggest tool of white supremacists, it's been black women. Not all black women, but these black women. These black women right here. This divestment crowd, these ugly ducklings who are pissed at men who basically don't desire them. Their attitudes are bad. They stink of, I'm going to be single for the rest of my life. And I will not bow down to anybody or anything except for that white man at the job, in order to surpass black men so that I can, stare down at them and belittle them even more than the rest of society does. That these people right here, and their conversation reeks of hatred for black men. But what you get out of their conversation the most is that they're a bunch of selfish individuals. They want everything for themselves. They want opportunities for themselves, not for the community, for themselves. Black women, not black people, black women. Okay. When we're not talking about this topic, go back to Ice Cube talking to the ladies on the little, talk show where they said that, no, you have to specifically say black women. He said, ain't you black people? No, you got to say black women, because they want it to go to them, not to our communities. They don't want to make our communities better. They want to be leaders, but they don't think like leaders. Leaders think about the entire community. They don't think about themselves. Okay. So now she moves on to this, we should use kinder language. And then she says, not again. They want kinder language from Kevin Samuels, don't they? They don't want to be talked to in a way that's stern and that locks them down to have any kind of accountability. But let's move on. She says, not again. Here's the thing. We don't need another documentary on violence towards black men. How many movies and documentaries center around violence and racial profiling of black men? I can say the same thing for black women and all these black feminist movies and, all these white feminist movies that basically characterize men as basically something for them to step over, and to basically not even tolerate. You look on some of these, there's a Reddit called Witches of the Patriarchy, where they made a meme where it said women should serve men. And there was a woman with a man's detached head on a platter. And that was supposed to be the serving that men were supposed to get, from these women. So, that's almost terroristic. But these women eat that up, They love that negative drama. They love all of that, and if you're with these types of men, you chose those types of individuals to go to. And I'm sure that was against your father's wishes, your parents' advice. You just get out there and you just want to do whatever the hell you want to do. I see it time and time again. But then who's blamed? It's us. Why don't you protect us? Why aren't you the leaders that we need in the community? You can't lead someone that doesn't want to be led. And that's what we see from this. These women do not want to be led. They're going to get it probably about a month before they go into the nursing home that they probably should have done something different. And then they'll be dating, Mr. George back in, room 23C in the nursing home, and ready to submit then. But not now, not while they're youthful and, somewhat, acceptable. But I don't know what to say about Khadijah. Khadijah looks a mess, but so I can kind of understand where her comments come from. She's got 4.3 thousand followers here on this Medium deal. Good gracious. Underbite, big glasses, Igbo nose. Come on, man. I don't know. I'm just saying she's a 2 at best. But let's move along. Okay. I can see, I would be pissed off if I was a 2 as well. But you got to work with what you got, sweetie. You got to work with what you got. You got to polish it off and present it in a better fashion. There's somebody out there for you. Okay. So let's move on. Here she goes. We don't need yet another docu-series on the violence towards black men. How many movies, docu-series, and documentaries center around the violence and racial profiling of black men? Heck, black men are the faces of police brutality. The black women who have died barely get any mention, let alone an inkling of justice. Okay, they got a mention. It's just not that many of them. But you feel like that they should just, hover over, the very few of them instead of looking at the entire group of people. This whole Black Lives Matter movement, all of that, was because of the sheer numbers of black men that were being executed in mass out here, which she has no sympathy, no empathy for at all. I wonder if I know she has a father, if she has any brothers or uncles, if she cares the same thing about them, or if she just wants to run around here in an all girls club, rah-rahing them. Okay. So she says we damn sure didn't need this. Also, I get a little sad when I see other black women caping for black men. I won't go on the level of calling them mammies because Lord knows I've been there too. But we need to stop acting like black men's feelings and their oppressions are more important than black women's deaths. We are dying, she puts in capital letters here. And we are dying at huge numbers, mostly because of black on black violence from black men. Right here in my hometown, a black lady, a couple of weeks ago, it was like last month, got out of a car after another black woman smashed a bottle on her window. I'm sure you guys can find it on national news. She got out, she fired 4 shots, killed the girl. I think she wounded the guy. She stood up there and she shot like she was on an action movie. No fear in her face, bit down on her bottom lip, and fired with extreme prejudice. If she was in combat, in the military, I would say it was beautiful. But since she was out on a busy street with a bunch of kids around, and the chief of police had to return fire on her as she was driving away, it's not so beautiful. But see, they don't like to talk about these types of things. That's just one. There have been other ones too. Had a friend of mine whose daughter was shot by another woman she was lured out to a place and she was murdered. So by a black woman at that. Don't want to talk about that. How about we talk about, it was an NBA player who was murdered by his wife, and she lured him out to a position where he was murdered. And then they, didn't find his body for a long time until, they finally found it out. And then they, got her to go ahead and tell what she did. We don't want to talk about those types of things, but we're going to start highlighting some of these stories. I mean, I send some of these stories over to Dr. T, and, we talk about them a little bit, but there are a number of stories out here not being covered, in a bigger way. When a woman does these things, when a black woman does these things, it's swept under the rug. It's not really a big presentation about it. But when a man does it, it's all out there. It's because it's, America has always loved gangsters. They've always loved gangster movies, gangster shows, people being slaughtered and murdered in the streets, the use of the weapons that we covet. So, America loves that. It's written into our DNA. So that's why it's a tasty treat for folks to see it every night on the news and all throughout the day. And they give it to you. That's the way that they incarcerated black men en masse back in the 90s. Because that's what people asked for. They wanted it. It was appealing. And then later on, we saw that, hey, we were under the spell of the wrong kind of information. But a lot of times you make decisions and then you see it later on that you were led into making bad decisions. But let's move on. Where does most of the violence come from? Okay, well, let's go back here. Okay, and we're dying at huge numbers, mostly because of black on black violence from black men. At least 4 black women are murdered per day in America. Black women also share a very high risk of being murdered or raped during their lifetimes. You see, she's put this in here like several, 2-3 times, I think, and it's worded differently each time. She's got a link here. to the statistics. You guys can go and check that out. I will go through them, but it's probably going to take a little bit more time than what you guys would probably care to waste on it, because I'm sure they're only partially broken down and dissected. So, I mean, that's usually always the case. They pick out the parts that are juicy for them, Okay, so where does most of this violence come from? Like any other race, most of the violence happens within, by black men. She puts a big dash there. Okay, and then she goes, what did Malcolm X say? Yeah. The most disrespected person in America is the black woman. The most unprotected person in America is the black woman. Well, what I say to that is, you guys go back and look at my show, one of my very first shows about Malcolm X, talking about the most disrespected, person in America being a black woman. Well, I say to you that you are not the woman that he's talking about. A lot of you women in this divestment community, he was not talking about y'all. Not at all. You guys don't even carry yourself in a way that is respectful to somebody like Malcolm. He talks about the type of woman who is respectful, but you won't go back and look at that, because it wasn't a mouthy woman. It wasn't a disrespectful woman. It wasn't a woman who hates black men and the black community. And it's not a woman who would write a piece like this. Hit pieces on black men, and we're seeing them over and over and over. And after this, I'm gonna move on to the next one, and you'll just see over and over and over this sentiment that black men, all but shouldn't exist. So let's move on. I understand why some black women feel that we should have conversations with black men rather than demonizing them, but we've tried that for years at this point. And I wonder how old Khadijah is. See, this is the other part, where you have these women who are 20 years old, maybe in their 30s. What have you done for years? And they always come up with stories from the 50s and the 60s, times they didn't even live through. And they come with stories that were written and that were encouraged out here by feminists, not a neutral person who basically looks at the entirety of the situation and who doesn't have a negative narrative placed into their minds about men in general. They're going to try to convince you that black men weren't oppressed right alongside black women in the 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, right alongside. They're gonna try to convince you that, the documentaries where black women said that they didn't want men, they just wanted pretty babies. They're not gonna say anything about that. They're not gonna say anything about the Monahan report. They're not gonna say anything about any of the documentation, the E. Franklin Frazier and many of the other black sociologists and scientists came up with about the social condition or conditions that were present in the black community from Reconstruction on up to now. They even made predictions about what we would be going through if we did not make the changes that need to be changed, i.e., ensuring that black men were able to take care of their families, ensuring that they're educated, ensuring that they're not discriminated against. That is the part that they don't want to talk about. They act like they went through all of that by themselves. And not only that, they all want more than what it took for them to be raised up into the good women that they are today. They all want $100,000 when their parents didn't make $100,000. They all want, this cushy lifestyle, this fairy tale type existence where, they don't have to do anything but think about themselves and not have kids, and society will just move on. There's no logic to their thinking. Their thought patterns are not linear. They're erratic and sporadic. And when you point this out, they get upset. So let's move on. She goes on to say that after they've tried this for years, that black men clearly don't care, or they would have changed years ago. I'm done having conversations. Those are conversations that black men must have with themselves. Black women can't get involved anymore because our safety is at risk. See what I mean by non-linear, non-logical communications? So a bunch of black guys, all of us are supposed to get together. We talk to ourselves, devoid of female interaction and contact, and we solve the problem. We're going to solve the problem without their input and their them being involved. And then we're going to go to them and then tell them this is what you're going to do. How do you guys think that's going to work out? They're already saying that they don't want to participate. They're divesting. They don't want to have anything to do with you. But then they're going to be receptive to your leadership when you all get together and then go out and say, hey, now we got a plan. Y'all want to follow our plan? No. They divested a long time ago. And the thing about it is, she wants to talk about Malcolm. Let's talk about sellouts. If you hadn't heard Malcolm's, speech about, house N-words, go listen to that and swap that out for black women. And it about covers it. They can't wait to tell where you ran to in order for them to get that check from Goldman Sachs or whoever else is offering it up. If they tell them, we're going to give you this money, but the black men can't go, you think they're going to put that money down? No. They're going to take that money and then they're going to go get them a white man or whatever other man that they feel like is better in their minds, in their fairy tale Disney characterizations of what's better in their heads. What TikTok tells them is better, what Instagram tells them is better, who's going to flew them out, who's going to take them to the nearest resort, who's going to take them out on a cruise, who's going to allow them to live their best life and not really impose on them too much, not going to ask them to have any children, not going to ask them to cook anything, not going to ask them to have sex or to like sex, or to like being with a man, or to be amicable in any way. That's the person that she wants. She says that she wants a pushover man. But what she truly wants is a man that's not going to take her shit. Their souls are conflicted. Their minds are conflicted. And when you try to lead them, they're like wild Mustangs. I say this all the time. You got to break a wild Mustang. You got to ride it until it's too tired to put up any more resistance. And then it just says, look, wherever you wanted me to go really wasn't that bad. That's what we got here. We got wild Mustangs they say they want to do what they want to do, but then out the other side of their mouth, they say they want to be broken. I want a man that's muscled up and tattooed up, that's just not going to take my shit, that's just going to just take me and whisk me off. That's what they fantasize about. But then, you got a guy over here who's a programmer, who's a nerd with a pocket protector in. He's making them all the money that she's talking about, but he's not good enough because he's just too nice. Like Tupac was. He was too nice. But then when he became an asshole and started calling women bitches, they all wanted him. Therein lies the conundrum that they suffer from. And they make us crazy too by trying to figure them out. And trying to lead them like a bull with a ring in their nose in the right direction, in the direction towards having a viable household, having good kids, having a leadership in the community led by these black men that they don't want to follow. That's where we are. Now, after all of this winning, what's next, black women? What's next? How much more winning can the black community stand? You can't fight a battle on multiple fronts. We can't fight you, fight society, try to be successful, try to be the best men that we can possibly be fathers and work all these damn hours so that you can have the money that you want to find us acceptable. We can't do all of that. You can't have everything. Let's move on. Finish this up. She says, I'm done having conversations. Those are conversations that black men should have with themselves. Black women can't get involved because our safety is at risk. I'm not saying that all black men are predators, but the golden boys out there sure as hell aren't doing enough work to hold other men accountable. Now, this is what we say all the time. Whose job is it to bring in all of the booty girls, all the strippers and, the hookers and the women that are preying on men through baseless accusations about whatever the case may be. They go and they put themselves in these situations, hanging out with pimps and all kinds of half-naked women and stuff. And then when somebody looks at them or somebody touches them on the booty or whatever, then all of a sudden they've been accosted. Who's supposed to rein these women in? Who's supposed to say, put some clothes on? Who's supposed to say, hey, you don't have to carry yourself like that? Who's supposed to say, stay off the casting couch? Other women are supposed to have those conversations. Because when men come to you and say, hey, you shouldn't be doing all of that, get the fuck out of my face. You can't tell me what to do. Everybody wants to be a city girl. Everybody wants to be whoever the next stripper rapper is. That's who everybody wants to be. Everybody wants to be ratchet as hell, like a Tasha K. Everybody wants to be, this woman who is respected through acting like the worst man that you can think about. Isn't it funny that they despise men, but in order to get respect, they have to act like a man? She says, all it takes is simple talk with your boys. Okay? Now, we've been advocating this, like I said. We've been advocating talking with our boys and supporting our boys. My Brother's Keeper, among other, programs that advocated for looking out for black men and boys. The Monahan Report, 1965. Civil rights was all about, moving some of the roadblocks so that we could actually have some manner of success. But no, she's saying, have a talk with your boys. Don't support them. Don't give them any money. Don't make sure they get any education. Just talk to them and tell them to be suckers, for women that don't respect them. That's what they want us to do. Be suckers, be chivalrous, and allow these women to just basically mow over you. That's what she's advocating. Tell these boys to basically, find fat women attractive, find women who are potty mouthed and not feminine, not even receptive to anything that is normal in a male-female relationship. They want you to accept all of that. Don't lead, follow the women. That's what they're telling you. She says, talk with your boys, okay? Until black women begin to see legislate changes or legislative changes, I think she's trying to say, black men aren't worth our energy, okay? So see, this is what I advocate for us too, is that we as men, we need to get out here. Don't complain about the Democratic Party and the Republican Party if you're not going to get inside of it and caucus to make change from within those systems. And then once you're in those systems and then you put on the docket, the things that are important to us as black men to help our community and to rein some of this hellaciousness in, then no real change is gonna take place. Everybody can talk about go out and getting the bag and and getting yourself together and dressing and all of that, But if you don't get out here and change these laws so that employment and education is open up to us, as well as other things that we need to map out and to make it to where we are the leaders in these movements towards changing how our futures are going to be, then of course we're not going to be respected. These women are going out here and they're changing legislation so that you can see more of guys throwing each other up against dressers and kissing and shit on power, and more fucking all of this other stuff, Superman's son being gay and all that shit. None of the stuff that we didn't ask for none of that. They're also advocating that, these trans men and gay men be included into men's conversations. How does that benefit us? Y'all, they're lumped in with y'all. Y'all are pushing and advocating, for these gay men to pretty much be included into the mix. And they're getting more power through Black women. So, we didn't ask for that. We don't want to see that. We didn't ask for any of that, but it's being pushed and pressed upon us. It started out where they wanted to use the bathroom with any bathroom of their choice, whether it be the grapefruit bathroom or whatever the case may be, whatever they see themselves as at any given time. That's what it is. We're supposed to suspend all belief in reality and science, and we're just supposed to accept that whoever they think they are, then that's who they are. And you know who advocated this? People who don't think about things in a logical way. People who are all in their feelings, trying to get you to accept how somebody feels over reality. You have to respect my feelings. My feelings are just as real as your numbers. That's what they tell you. I tell you to reject that. Okay, so let's move on. She says, we can't fight for everyone while being treated like shit 1,000,000 times. I'm tired. In conclusion, Black men don't need more sympathy documentaries about being profiled. How about a documentary that addresses Black on Black violence done to Black women? Maybe that will spread some change. Until then, deuces. Okay, there she is. Wish I could blow her face up so you guys could see it. And then she chooses a photo here of a Black woman with her fist balled up about to hit the Black man. And he has his hand around her wrist trying to keep her from hitting him. But who's at risk? From who? Black women are more likely to use weapons against their significant partners or significant others, intimate partner violence via, knives, guns, bottles, whatever the case may be. We see it all the time. People act like they don't want to see it. Cars running over people, attempted, murder with vehicles and whatnot. We see this all the time. But, Khadijah, she's blind. Maybe she needs to clean those glasses off, and then she can kind of see that it, shit goes both ways. Okay? So let's move on from Ugly Khadijah, and let's check out Lipstick Alley, established in 2000. Let's look at what the ladies say on here. And it has the petition up here talking about, where to sign the petition and whatnot. Let's read some of these comments. Okay. Carvel says, if you don't want to support it, don't watch it. This kind of manufactured outrage usually has the opposite effect, and people end up hate watching it. Okay. So here's, looks like a guy here says just don't watch it. Okay. Okay, it says update the irony. This thread pinned black women against each other. Great job, OP. Okay, and it is black women against, another black woman who this is might as well be the pick me argument. Okay, here's another one, Ruby Tuesday. This thread is a fucking joke, but both can occur at the same time. OP, you should feel silly. Okay, so we got a few people in here who have good sense. Okay, here's another one. Venti Trina says, no, I won't. If she wants to play Captain Save-A-Ho with her time and coins, that is her right. I want to see the content or at least some of it before I make a determination. Both things are true. Okay, all right. Okay, let's go down. Magnet. Okay, I don't think so. If you want to hate, watch, do so. But some friction against this type of bullshit is important. IMO. Cuties was watching by millions and it didn't stop the cancellation. Okay, talking about the little girls. All right. Here's another one. Magnus says, I think victimizing violent men is silly. I don't feel silly, but sad for black women whom still think that people pulling this sort of stats are being oppressed. Okay. All right. Some other people are praising her. Okay. Ian Chantress says, how about crowdfunding to make a docu-series about black femicide rates? Yeah. Yeah, I like that one. All right. Not everyone hates black men like y'all do on here, says Finesse Queen. Okay. Okay, here's another one. Pool 46 says, LOL, might as well have outrage and want to cancel all documentaries and movies uplifting black men because we kill ourselves more than any other race. I support Miss Tina. Okay. Some folks talking about fashions. Dumb. Say the creator of the petition is a lunatic white supremacist. Oh, I see. Thanks, Jessica. All right. Angela Rain. I will not be signing, nor will I be watching. Oh. But there you go. You got a few more on there. I'll add this to it too. If you guys want to go through and check out Lipstick Alley, it's a hoot. There's always a bunch of crazy folks on there. This is a shame. It still basically shows a lot of the problems that we have when trying to deal with things in a way that is logical. These women who are basically, they're angry for all kinds of different reasons, wind up coming out in dissent against anything that is positive regarding a black man. They don't want anything that will go through a black man's leadership. Nothing that would require them to be under the protection of a black man. They advocate, divesting from the community. If you just listen to the arguments, they have no love for this community. They just use these as ammunition to basically make the community look like it's not worth saving because black men are somehow in charge of it. So, and they say we're in charge, but yet we can't get them to do anything that we say. Whether it's, dressing more appropriately, having some kind of tact about how they speak with people, You see how some of these folks go into these restaurants, into these jobs, and there's always fighting, throwing stuff, attacking verbally and physically people. In some ways we have really slid backwards, and these women gain more and more power every day. And they talk about how many, we've got all of these black female lawyers. We've got all of these black female pilots. We've got all of this money going in. We took over Black Lives Matter. Has it changed anything? Has it stopped any of the men being killed? Did they do anything about that? Do they have any male leadership in these organizations that are dealing with, genocide against these black men? No. They just used it to enrich themselves and to put themselves in a better position for them to be benefit singularly. So, like I said, it has nothing to do with the uplifting of the community. When you see them and they say, okay, we've got all of this inclusion, we've got all these black women moving here, or we're seeking black women. I'm going to do a story on the airlines. Now the airlines, they want black females. We're going out seeking out black females. When have you saw them go out and say that they use that language when they wanted to get black men to be involved with something? Nope. We are encouraging black applicants to apply, for openings. We don't know how many openings we'll have, but we want, black males to apply. And then 2 of you get in there. And the rest of them are, spread out through, other minorities. Okay. And then when black men were being talked about, weren't they talking about getting rid of affirmative action? But now you got on the flip side, you got all of this push towards, we want black women in this. We want black women in these STEM fields. We want black women in, whatever, That's all we're seeing on a day-to-day basis. Start keeping score. I am. Start keeping score. You start seeing how many programs that they're proposing for you to get, People will say, with my brother's keeper, well, I did a show on that as well, where we talked about how, black women went out and basically threatened to sue and take to the Supreme Court if there would be, was a program that was formed to just basically benefit black men and boys. Now, the organization still exists. Now, I don't know how much funding it's getting. It's definitely not getting funding on a level that it was gonna get. But we see that, Goldman Sachs with their $11 billion. We see the airlines pushing for all these female pilots, and then they got black female pilots and minorities, behind that. So that ought to show you the wording is they want black females, and whoever else that comes out but after that, we'll get you in too. But you see where the focus is. And that's how is that going to benefit our community? That's my question, But it's been interesting. I hope you guys liked the show. Got a nice little page here. I hope you guys like my little, battle station page there with all the little readouts on it. Maybe I'll talk to this a little bit more. But I appreciate you guys coming out, listening. Please like, share, and subscribe, and I will catch you guys next time.
I feel like a motherless child, a long way from home.